So this here is going to be a painting video for the Flamers of Tzeentch. So we had 3 of them built up, and we've just finished them now. So if you like the way they look, with the purple gradient down and turning into the blue, with the incandescent type flames going on, please feel free to stay tuned, and we'll show you how we got here from the original design. In any case, if you're happy with any of these videos and you want to help out the channel, please feel free to subscribe. And otherwise not, stay tuned, and I'll show you how we got here from the gray. So this is a video on how to paint Flamers of Tzeentch. So we have a set of 3 of them here, and we're going to paint them up. So we've primed them originally with just which is Krylon Color Master. And it went on a little inconsistency, so it's plain in this side and too much over here and all that. So I'm not super happy with the way it went on. It's not super reliable. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a base coat on this over the primer anyway, just to even it out. So what we're going to do is put a primer base coat of Thousand Suns Blue on it. Just like so, just to get a really good base color on it. That we can work with. So like so. So we're going to paint up all 3 of these models and get them nicely based for now, and then we'll meet back here in a few minutes. So on our models now, our next thing that we're going to do is take a little bit of Abaddon Black, and we're going to just color the inside of all of the mouths. There's one in the bottom of the model. And the ones up top are generally with their mouths closed, so we don't have to worry too much about those. But just any of these openings here at the bottom, we want nice and dark inside. Just so that there's no big issues there with having the wrong color. And don't worry if you make a mess. We're going to do the teeth over again as well as the flames at a later time. So now that the Abaddon Black has dried, what we're going to do is shade the entire model with some Drakenhof Nightshade. Let me take a little bit of that and just shade through the whole model here like so. And then that'll help the details pop out so we can do our highlight layers. So now that our shade is dried, what we're going to do now is take a little bit of Naggaroth Night, and we're going to dry brush up around the head area and around the arms here and just the top, just to create that purple effect that fades off into the blue. So just a little bit of a dry brush. Just gonna kind of do up most of this area here like so. Just making it all a little bit more purple. Just sort of like that. So we fade off into blue as we go down now. So we'll finish off the 3 models and we'll be back here in a few minutes. So these are units now that we've finished with the Drakenhof Nightshade. And what we're going to do now is just shade the top here. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to take a little bit of Druchii Violet. And we're just going to add the shade just to the top half of the model. Just helping to hide some of the blue that was there. Fill in the cracks, make the details a little bit more pronounced. There are a lot of heads and things like that that are going to be there that we have to deal with. And we're just going to color in the top half of the model pretty much like that. So we'll finish this, we'll meet back here in a few minutes, and we'll go from there. So now that our dark purple shade has dried, what we're going to do now is start our highlight layer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Thousand Suns Blue, and we're going to apply a highlight to all of the blue at the bottom, fading off as we move upwards, and we'll have a different shade up there. So just a little dry brush of some Temple Guard Blue, just slightly like so. Don't worry too much about the tentacles because they're going to go a different color in the end. But for now, we're just adding that highlight layer just to bring out a bit more of the blue like so. So we'll keep doing that and we'll see what we end up with in the end. just like so. So this is our models now that we finished with our Temple Guard Blue. And as you can see, it's brought out a lot of the details here. We've got the mouths at the bottom now back visible. So what we're going to do is do the same thing with the upper part of the body. So we're going to do a dry brush layer of Daemonette Hide. So we're just going to dry brush that all over the top of the model. And because it's a base paint, it's going to get great coverage. So we want to be sure to do very, very lightly on that. Just like so. Dry brush to catch all these high points. And we're going to blend it into the arm and the torso so that the purple and blue blend together. And as we do it, as you can see, we're starting to get the details of the faces back, which will light up a bit more once we do teeth and fire and all that stuff. So now that we're finished our Daemonette Hide highlight layer on the purple, we're going to come back with one more highlight layer. We're going to start on the blue again, doing a little bit of blue horror. So it's a very, very light layer, so you only need a tiny little bit of it. And all we're going to do is just lightly touch the higher points. Just like so. So now that we finished with our blue horror, we're going to do one last dry brush on the purple. And with that, we're going to do a little bit of Slaanesh Grey. And because it's a light color, we only need a little bit of it. So make sure the brush is really dry. And we're just looking to light up just the high pieces. Just like that. Just to get the final details on some of the faces here. So now that we're finished with the rest of the purple and the blue and all our highlight layers, we're going to move on to something different. So what we're going to do is start working on the flames that are coming out the bottom, because it is a flamer. The back is full of flames, the front is full of flames, bottom's full of flames. So to do that now with the color it is, we have to lighten it back up to a white base and then add the tone and colors out onto the top of that. So the first thing we're going to do is with a detail brush, start adding white scar to clean up all of the little tiny details. Just like so, just to get those flames back to a base color that we can work with, while being careful not to damage the blue or the purple that we've got there done now. So we'll start working on that, and we'll be back here in a little bit. So at the end of that step, we've done all of the white with, or all of the flames with white, and this was probably the most meticulous part of the job. But as you can see, we've got all the fine details there. You don't have to worry too much about the tips, just because they're going to go dark as it goes anyway. But anyway, that's the meticulousness that we've picked out. We've tracked along, tried to sort out where all the faces are on the little flamers, so that we could get the flames coming out of the mouths, as well as the ones that face backwards. So that was a bit of a job, but we've done all 3 units with that. And the third one is here. So that was a little bit meticulous, but now that that's done, so we're ready to move on to our next step. The next step in our flames, we're going to shade all of the stuff we did in white with some Casanadora Yellow, and that'll give us the base orange for our flames, which we'll do right now. So with just a little bit of this, start going over our flames. Sort of like that. We don't want it to pool too much, so that's a little bit too much pooling there. But we do want the color to be there. And we do want it uneven because it's flames. Now, not to worry too much about down toward the end because that's going to get a few different colors added to it. Mostly we're looking at painting and shading sort of the base where the flames start. Something like that. So we're going to start doing that to all the models. We'll meet back here in a few minutes. So now that our Casanadora Yellow is finished, what we're going to do now is add another color to these flames. So we want them to go from yellowish to orangish to reddish to dark red to brownish. So to do that, we're going to add the orange color now. And with that, we're going to use some Troll Slayer orange. And we're just going to start coloring up the tips of the flames. And we're just going to take our orange, start just coloring in the end pieces here. Doesn't have to be even. And these are going to be pretty tricky to get to. So we'll keep doing that for all the rest of the models. We'll meet back here in a few more minutes. Flamer now that we finished with the Troll Slayer orange. And as you can see, we've tipped off all the edges of the flames. So we're going to move to the next gradient color. And what we're going to do there is take a little bit of Evil Sunz Scarlet. And we're just going to lighten up from there a bit more red as we come up the flames like so. See? I'll put a little bit of that on there. Just like that. Just slowly making our gradient as we go. So we'll finish with this and we'll meet back here again in a few minutes. So this is our flamer now that we finished with the Evil Sunz Scarlet. And what we're going to do now is just dry brush very, very lightly a yellow highlight layer on all of these flames just to sort of blend all the colors together. So for that, we're going to take a little bit of Yriel Yellow. And with a very, very, very dry brush, we're just going to dry brush some of those flames. Just to blend it all together, like so. So now that our flamers are finished here, we got one last bit to do. We're going to put a little bit of Khorne Red, which is the darkest red we have that's still a red. We're just going to do the very tips of these flames. Just like so. So with that, our flames are finished. So we're going to move on to another part of the model. So we've got two things left. We've got the teeth and the eyes. So we're going to start with the eyes, since we already had the little bit of Yriel Yellow out. We're going to just continue to use that here. And we're just going to lightly touch just like so, just to start coloring some of the eyes like that. This is our flamer now that we've got the eyes finished. And as you can see, Once the eyes are in, the faces get a little bit easier to identify. So what we're going to do now is bring out the rest of the face detail with the teeth. So we're going to use a little bit of Zandri Dust. I'm going to just start doing all of the teeth from each of the models here. Now I'll likely shade them again after, so if we mess it up, it's not the end of the world. We just want to set out to make sure that they're all visible there. And then we'll come back through them with a little bit with that white scar highlight in a minute. So this is our flamer now that we've done the Zandri Dust teeth. And what we're going to do now is shade all of these teeth area here just to get the details back. We're going to do that with some Agrax Earthshade. So I'm going to take a little bit like so and just go over sort of a detailed, directed shade over all the teeth area here, just to get that back before we highlight it. We can let the extra flow into the mouth. It's just going to make the mouth a little bit darker, which is what we want anyway. So just like that. So now that our shade is dry, all we're going to do now is take a little bit of a highlight layer of Screaming Skull just to brighten up those teeth back up. So just like so. And these teeth right over here. So these are our flamers now that the Screaming Skull is finished, and I'm pretty sure this is about where we're going to finish them. So we're just going to clear coat them with some varnish and base them, and we'll be back to see the finished product in a few minutes. So this is the final product of our flamers of Tzeentch, and as you can see, they turned out all right, half decent. The faces are there. I like the flame work. The detail on the little faces wasn't as good as I want it to be, but I think that's basically the problem with the model and the sculpt and not necessarily the paint job. But in any case, this is them. They will look good on the tabletop. And if you liked the way they looked and you found that helpful, then feel free to like and share or leave a comment on the video. And in any case, we will talk to you the next time we do a painting video. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.